I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is the Beyond the Mouse podcast, the podcast for all things Disney for NPR Illinois Community Voices and the Front Row Network. My name is Craig. I will be your host this evening, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Mr. Brett Rutherford.
Well, hello there.
And Miss Vanessa Ferguson.
Hello.
How are you all doing today? This is exciting. This is new territory for us.
Yeah, it's another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
It makes me sick. That's right. It's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus today. We are doing a Hocus Pocus game review. This is a brand new game brought out by Ravensburger, and we want to thank our friends at Ravensburger for providing us with copies of this so we could review this for you. We're very excited to get into it and talk all about this game. This is a new kind of episode for us, so we're excited to get a chance to check this out and to let you know all about it. We'll also provide you with details on where you can go about purchasing this game. I will tell you right off the bat, if you are a Disney fan and into Halloween, this could be a very cool addition to your shelf this Halloween season. We're going to dive into things like the design of the game and what we really enjoy about the look of it, because it looks spectacular. Then we'll talk about how you play and what our gameplay experience has been like. We'll go ahead and talk about specifically what we enjoyed from the game, and then maybe end with some suggestions or things that we didn't enjoy as much as we move forward. But I'm just really excited to get into this. Brett, your thoughts, first impressions on Hocus Pocus, the game?
Bonjour. Je veux un livre. I enjoyed it. I'm like going, it was like watching the movie, only you were there, but you got to play it and you got to plot against the Sanderson sisters. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
Did Hocus Pocus turn you French?
No, I watched the movie again in preparation to get in the mood. I'm like going, when they're put in the kiln, and they come out and there was like the French tapes going on.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Bonjour. Je veux un livre. And then she does
You're really losing your street cred here, Vanessa, that you don't remember that scene.
I remember it now.
Because it's a book.
That is a pretty iconic scene.
I just don't speak French. I just didn't understand it.
But
I do, so that was fun. I'm like going to
lead you through this, and we're so excited to get into it. And I even have little Thackeray Binks here with me. So I should say that for anybody that listens to our podcast, first of all,
show us your cards.
So much for listening. But this might be a really good opportunity for you to check out our YouTube channel and also our Facebook channel, because Brett puts a ton of work every week into editing the videos for us. And we are going to be showing you some of the game pieces, some of the artwork throughout. We'll also describe it for those of you that are listening, but this might be a really fun video to check out and see the video version of it, because then you can kind of follow along with that with us as well. Before we get into it, Vanessa, your first impressions on the game?
Well, I have first impressions and I had first impressions. So my first impressions were I was a little confused for about at least 2 hours. Was it 2 to 3? I think, Brett, the first one we played. 3 hours that we played.
It was a different version, but yeah,
it was a version I made up. But then my first impressions are that I do really like this game a lot, and I hope Brett will play with me again, even though I think he may not want to, because we've already put in a good 5 hours. So
now I'm looking on here, and it does say that the game should take you 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes to play. Yeah. So
I know.
I'm excited.
We were doing the distance version. We were doing the Zoom, the Zoom.
We added some extra time because we had an extra deck because we had to do the Zoom version. I think it may be possible to do 30 minutes, but it does seem a bit of a stretch.
Maybe your second time or third time through.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I know. You really are getting ahead of yourselves. Let's talk about the design of the game, because I am so excited to speak about that. This looks like a book. It's a book, and you can put it up on your shelf, and it looks so wonderful. Although I will say, why is the word book not on here somewhere? Come on, design team. But really, truly, it looks beautiful. I'm going to hold
Because
it up
it's
to
a
the camera here.
book.
It just looks amazing. We have, of course, Winnie, and we have Mary and Sarah right there on the cover. And then throughout, you open it up, and that's what holds all of the game deck and everything. Of course, I don't
Yeah.
have that on me right now. I'm just showing you the box. But
Or a
it
flask.
has the black flame candle in the inside of it, and then also on the spine we have our characters along with Thackeray. And then I just noticed little things like we've got a bit of a creature coming out the bottom of the box here, and so they really put a tremendous amount of detail even just into the box. Ravensburger just really knocked this out of the park. So Brett, you are my graphic design guy. Talk to me about your thoughts on the design, and we'll go ahead and get into some of the cards and things like that too if you want. But even just the box is impressive to me.
I'm sure, yes, the box, because that's if you were out,
What's
if you
in
were
the box?
looking in the,
I had to.
if you were looking at, in the store somewhere, and you go, there would be the appeal of the box, from the movie Hocus Pocus, Disney Hocus Pocus, the game. Well, it says it all right there. So that was cute,
It has a title.
and then
That's
the
great.
cards. Well, it's based on the iconic film that now we can play the game. But yeah, the design, there's the spell cards, and then the potion cards. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm holding
And
some of
then
those up. So the spell cards are cast
spell
by, and
cards.
we'll talk about kind of the rules later, but the cast by the witches, our friends, right? And so this one is a Mary card, and it says, I smell children, and just a really cool design throughout. And then also your ingredient cards become very important. So this is thine own tongue, and just really fun and really cool look to it all.
Yeah.
Vanessa, your
I thought
thoughts
so too.
on
It's
the
great.
overall design of the game?
Oh, I was so excited when I saw it because it definitely gets you in that kind of Halloween, spooky frame of mind. And like I mentioned earlier, plenty of room for bottles of whatever. Or you put your Girl Scout cookies in there if you're trying to hide those from your kids. Lots of things could be hidden in this little box that looks like a book. But then also the one thing that did confuse me was I didn't quite understand what this doodad was because it folds. Okay, and I didn't understand that this was a cauldron at first. I thought it was just like, I don't know, just like a nice circle board to put your cards on. But then once you read the instructions, cauldron makes a little more sense. So
I mean, it's bubbling. You can kind of see that it's
I
bubbling
I
there.
thought it was like, but I thought it was like a brick, like a stone with like spots on it. So anyway, the instructions will start to begin to lead you down the right path until they take a detour to the wrong path. But other than that, I really did like the design a whole lot.
And we do have a game piece too. So just in case you were worried that your supporting characters are not represented in this game, I showed you earlier, but we do have Thackeray Binks. He plays a key role in this because it is a game of cooperation amongst the players, but secrecy is sort of one of the ways that the game is more compelling and more interesting. And again, we'll get into that, but Thackeray Binks reveals some secrets that are very helpful to you. And then my favorite character in all of Hocus Pocus, Billy Butcherson, is represented in some of the cards. And so we are excited that he's in there as well. Just a really fun way to get you into the spirit, really put you in the mood for this movie and for playing a really fun card game. Final thoughts on the design, overall aesthetic of the game. Brett, anything that you'd like to add?
I loved it. It was so cool. I mean, it was charming, and the way the cards are will bring you back to the movie. Or, there's catchphrases and such, and so very cool, very
Yeah.
clever. Whoever the creators of this game love the movie, which of course. How could
Yeah.
you not?
Absolutely. They definitely took a lot of, even in the ingredients and things, they took a lot of time, and you can tell the love. It isn't just something that was brought over to sell a lot of games. These people really put time and effort into this design, and I really appreciate that. As a true fan of Hocus Pocus, I appreciate being able to see that amount of detail and that amount of design. Vanessa, any final thoughts in design before we start to talk about how to play and gameplay?
Just a pro tip: if you've got Binks, try to remember who has Binks, because what will happen is you'll play like I did, which was, oh, Brett, show me your cards, because that's what happens when you have Binks. So instead of yelling at that person and making demands, just remember who has it, because I kept forgetting who had Binks. It'll all
Nice.
make sense soon. I promise.
It will. It will. That's a
Forgetting
great
if there were two of
segue.
us that played and you kept forgetting who had Binks. Yeah, I can
we
understand.
had a Zoom camera. I couldn't see it on your
Okay.
table, so that's
true.
why.
I guess that's true.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah, and I'm
taken.
interested to hear about how you all played, because my wife and I, Anna and I, played this game, so a little bit more traditional in the sense of how we played. But let's get into that, because I don't want to necessarily go through all the rules here. There is a lengthy amount of rules, and I will say that I am one of those board game players and card game players that is much more into like the game of life and Clue and things that are kind of old standbys that have fairly simple rules to get into. I will tell you, this game does, in my mind, have a fairly steep learning curve. Once you know it, though, you know it. And I think that people that enjoy those types of card games or newer board games that are coming out that do kind of up the level in terms of the instructions and the depth of the game, I think you won't have a problem with this at all. But we did play. I watched a couple of tutorials on how to play on YouTube, and actually that was, to me, a bit more because they were doing it hands-on and kind of going through things while they could show it to you and read it to you. To me, that was more helpful than the instruction book, even though the instruction book is very, very useful and very nice. But again, I would say that the instructions for this, it isn't something that I think you could anticipate just busting out and immediately knowing how to play. Would you agree with that, Vanessa?
Well, I would agree with what you're saying, except I would not agree that this is called a book. I would call it a booklet, but but yeah. Yeah.
Booklet.
It's a booklet.
See, I can't do it like you can.
Or like, what if they went to a museum? They'd be like, pamphlet? Anyway. Survey card? That's how they say everything.
Tickets?
Livre.
This is how Brett and I played. We try, even though the whole point of the game is that you're trying to like defeat the Sanderson sisters. Brett and I took it as that we were also like a rivaling witch group. And so we would talk like, doth thou have a rat? Doth thou have a poison?
A dead man's toe. Doth thou have? And I worked on. I had, because I'm like going, is it doth? Because we were having subject verb conjugation issues.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, and then I think then I looked to see if it was dost thou, but then I did look and it was doth, which is the old form of do. So do you have a card? Is doth thou have a card? Yes.
Yeah.
Doth
so we made
thou have a dead man's toe?
And I doth have a dead man's toe.
I doth. So you just say I
But
doth.
you couldn't say what color toe that was. So no. Here's the thing. So this is where we went wrong. So about this game is you're basically trying to get either the same ingredient or the same color or both to what's it called?
Stun.
To stun a witch. So
that was another catchphrase too.
That was over here.
Stun a witch.
Stun a witch. Okay. So that's what you're trying to do. Now, we were confused because we thought that we just didn't understand this. This board gets you started on what you can play first, but after that, you build on top of each card. So Let's say I had a toe.
Oh, that's where you went wrong.
That's where I went wrong. So it's a lot like Uno. So in Uno, you can do a 2 or you can do a blue card. It's very similar. We misunderstood that. So for 3 hours, we played a different game.
But let's go back for just a moment
really
because
difficult.
Greg, she doesn't see she was hiding herself, and she's going to hide herself again because this was the deal. Because when I had it all queued up and I was going to share it on Zoom because I know how to do that now, and I'm so proud to share my screen.
Tell me that.
I did what? No, yeah,
you didn't tell me that you had the video instructions.
No. Okay, so my charming partner in the Hocus Pocus games, I just jump in and just read it and do it. And
I was not on my Judy Garland meds when I said that. You take that back.
Okay, that's true. But I had it all queued up, and I'm like going, let's learn how to do this, and it might be a little easy because I read through the instructions. I'm like going, there were a few things I wasn't quite clear on that I thought, Vanessa and I will watch the video that you watched, Greg. And then, we'll be able to get a handle on this. And she was kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to get in and do it. So
that is not what happened.
That is exactly what
he didn't tell me he had the video up. He said he did read through the instructions. I said, well, I didn't because I want to have a fresh perspective going in. But what ended up happening was after Brett and I played
3 hours later.
3 hours later, it's like Gilligan's Island meets Hocus Pocus. And we were on the island. And anyway, so we did end up watching a video tutorial like Craig. And that's where we figured out where we went wrong. And there was a couple other things that were misleading in the instructions that became clear once we watched the video.
Yeah, so
our interpretation of the reading of the, I'm sure, very clear and precise instructions. There was just a little bit of a confusion and perhaps a slight learning curve on our part.
So what you're saying is that some of us did the maybe more prudent thing by watching the video without having played the game first for 3 hours. I remember you sent me a message, something about how do you ever run out of cards because you can always play a card. And I'm like, you can't always play a card. I mean, that's, so that is something that you came to a little bit maybe later than some of us had that.
Well, we had the Zoom quarantine edition, so it was just a little different. But
yeah,
Vanessa,
so talk about that because
much fun.
I feel like it would be kind of difficult to pull this off over Zoom. And I mentioned that to you because when I played it with Anna, before you all did your Zoom session, and I thought it might be difficult because of the way the decks are structured and things. So how did you get around that in case someone does want to kind of virtually play this in the time of COVID?
Yeah.
Nessa, please tell us about our second time of playing.
I shall show you. This is how you get around it. Mini Post-its. So the trick is because, keep in mind that we're using 2 decks, and normally you would only use 1 deck. Brett had his deck and I had mine. But when you're building cards, you obviously can't memorize what's being played. So every time a card would be played, if that Brett was playing, I would put Post-it down. And so he found it very annoying because he would want to play a card and I said, no, you can't do that because that's not what the Post-it says. And he could not see the board. Now, if we play again on Zoom, we realize now that what we will do is we will have a third camera or my other laptop on Zoom just with the view of the board so that he can see what's been played and what I've written down on a Post-it. See, it's possible. You just have to be, come up with a cheat way of getting around it.
You have to have a dedicated board camera.
Yes, and Post-it notes, very important, and a good Post-it writer.
Yeah, you just have to sort of play. It might take a bit longer to play that way, but I think it is kind of a fun way to be able to get people involved and to play over multiple games. So really, truly, you could have with the 2 decks, you really still could have the 6 players going. I will mention that the game is made for 2 to 6 players. I think based on the rules and how things play out, this game would be more fun potentially if the more players that you had, because the way that the spells work, some of the spell cards will allow you to utilize binks and be able to see other players' cards, because much like Uno, you have to ask about the what kind of cards someone has, and the sorry, Vanessa's just derailing me. What are you laughing about?
Your dog, yes.
The dog?
Figaro is watching and playing, so Figaro is a guest. So
Sorry, Brett, for
cute.
your edit.
No, he's too cute. You have to keep
so
Figaro in.
He is just like right perfectly on your shoulder.
He's totally
Look at your
staring at me, so
face.
ticked.
So cute.
In a lot of meetings today, and he's just staring at me. I'm so sorry. Tell us more about important things that we need to know, Craig.
So I do think that the more players that you have, that would allow you to then be able to kind of have more fun in that you can't see everybody's cards. So like when the Binks character is played, that allows you to look at another player's cards. Well, if it's only the 2 of you, like it was with me and Anna, or Brett and Vanessa, then you can see basically all the cards on the table, right? Because you can see your cards, and then you also see the player with you. So I would say that maybe if you had 6 players, it could add a bit more intrigue to that, or even if you had 3 or 4 players, because you could then not see all of the cards that are available to you on the table. Because this is a cooperative game and you are strategizing to stun these witches, basically what the ultimate end goal is to either match all the ingredients on the board, match all of the colors on the board, or match the colors and the ingredients on the board. And that's how you stun the different witches. And if you could stun them 3 times throughout the game, the process of the game, before you run out of cards, then you win. If you do run out of cards prior to that, then the witches win. So it is a really fun gameplay. Again, I don't want to necessarily get into the true specifics of the rules, because there are quite a bit of them, but really enjoyable in terms of the way that it moves. And I think if you play it multiple times, especially throughout the Halloween season, or even not in the Halloween season, I love Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus originally came out in July, so it truly is a summer movie more than a Halloween movie. And you can play this all year round. And I think the more and more that you play, and the more people that you play with, it would even get that much better. So, Brett, thoughts on gameplay and what you were able to experience over Zoom, or even just in general with the game?
Well, I think what I really liked about this is that you get to work together, because I've played tons of games growing up, and I told Vanessa that I'm like, I stopped playing Monopoly with my parents when I was little, like in 2nd grade, because I didn't want to beat them. I felt bad about that. So this is so for all you 2nd graders out there that don't want to beat your parents in a game, this is the game for you, because you can play it as a team player. And that was great. And I mean, if worse comes to worse and the Sanderson sisters live, I'm like going, so they just suck out all the lives of the kids, and well, that's okay too. I mean, I'm just kidding.
It's Halloween.
Well, they've been talking about that potential sequel on Disney Plus. So, maybe they did live somehow. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. It's all in Kenny Ortega's brain, right? So we'll have to get that out, and can't wait to see that if that's the case. Vanessa, gameplay, observations, things that you liked about the gameplay, or anything that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy game. It's kind of like chess in that you have to be a couple moves ahead. And like you said, Craig, if you're only playing with 2 people, it can become a little bit like, one person is dictating the card games, which in Brett's case is mine. I was like, Brett, you do not want to play that. It is also great
It was implied more than, explicitly told until about our 7th hour of play. Then I was like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I'm like, just play that card. So, and that was a real trick, was not to follow the rules and not say, what cards you had, or in the game you're allowed to ask one question, but it can only be what color or what item. You can't say, I kept messing up constantly. I kept saying, do you have a yellow toe? And Brett would remind me, you can't say that. So there was a lot of kind of improv miming going on where I'd be like, Brett, do you have?
Yes.
Because I'm trying to tell him with my eyes, this is the next card we're going to play. I have a strategy forming. And like Brett said, I also really like that it is a group effort. It is a family game. So I went into it telling Brett like I was going to take him down. But really, this is very much a joint effort. And I think for families who want to play this, I think they'd really have a good time working with each other to play this game. So I thought it was a lot of fun. I want to play it again.
I had we're back to me, sorry, but anyway. I had fun both times. I almost had a little bit more fun the first time because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we were making up our own rules.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It is kind of fun to go through and sort of figure out the game as it goes along, because you do read those instructions or even watch the video, and it doesn't all quite make sense until you're in those situations, those unique situations in the game where you pull a spell card or you stun a witch or you're using the different potions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Brett?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is the one that did me in, because we were working so hard to get a completion, and then take flight, come, we fly. And it's remove the sun token from the play and cast another spell. We had to start over, and it took us 27 hours to get to where we were in the first day.
That was rough. Yeah, that was like, okay,
I like
fine.
going,
Open a bottle of wine. I can't handle this.
It was like, yes, that was our 27th. Okay, I exaggerate, but that
And
was
just for your visuals, so as you're playing along, they give you a sun token, and that I left in the box, but that is, you're basically trying to stun the witches 3 times before the sun comes up. And once the sun comes up, if you've stunned them 3 times, any combination of the witches, so they all get stunned by different ways throughout the game, and if you stun them 3 times, any combination, then you win the game. So the different ways that you stun them is, to stun Sarah, you all the ingredients have to be the same color on your cauldron. To stun Mary, all the ingredients have to match. And then I think it'd be really difficult to stun Winnie, but I think you said that you guys did. Unless that was in that rogue first game where there were no rules. But in order to stun Winifred, you have to have all the ingredients match and have all 5 colors visible. So you have to have dead man's toe, and it has to be in all 5 of the different colors. And I feel like that would be kind of a difficult thing to do.
Well,
we got it done.
We did it, because we're the rival witch group when we can do anything. Doth thou know how to play with us? Please.
Is that the name? Is Doth just the name of your witch group?
I don't know.
Yes.
You have to be in our group.
Wait, so you decided to have this like different subtext, like kind of, I'm guessing it was maybe even a little cosplay. I'm picturing Brett was wearing a little hat, and you didn't come up with the backstory?
No, because secretly Brett and I both want to be Winnie, so we could never, our friendship could not handle that argument. So, we just let ourselves be whatever witch we wanted to be.
I'm wearing green today, did you see?
Yeah, well, actually I'm wearing, is it Sarah Red, right?
Sarah Red?
Right?
Lips?
You're right.
Doesn't she have Sarah Jessica Parker's lips are red?
Yes,
Okay.
You're right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that makes you Mary.
Come on.
So let's move into, we talked a bit about the gameplay.
Not you, him. That
Oh,
makes
yeah,
Craig Mary.
he's totally the Mary.
I'll be Sarah. I'll be
he's the
Sarah.
Mary.
I like to
No, I'll
vacuum.
be Sarah. You can be Winnie. It's fine.
Thank
Whatever.
you.
I like to vacuum. That's totally fine. I'm there. I'm Kathy Najimy through and through. So let's start to move into what we really enjoyed about this game, and we've talked a lot about that as we've gone along. I think for me, it's a combination of it just really hits all the right notes as a Hocus Pocus fan. You get sort of the additional experience. Every Halloween, every October, we want to turn on the movie and we want to watch it a million times. I think Brett is going to tell you that you could watch it 14 times on Freeform this
Well, I
Halloween
don't have to
season.
now.
And of course, it's on Disney Plus and all of that. But you're allowed to watch this movie through and through. But this gives you a little extra something to do to get you into that spirit and just thoroughly enjoy the design, probably even more so than the game, because the design of these cards and the design of the figurines, it's just really cool and really enjoyable. It puts me right into that mood, and I really think it's fun that it's a book, and I think that that's a really cool way to present the game for sure. But Brett, talk to me about what you really enjoyed out of this game.
Well, I'm like going, the element cards, thine own tongue, oil of boil, dash of pox. Okay, dash, just a dash. Newt saliva, which some of these they use to make the potion, and of course there's the dead man's toe.
Dead man's
toe. Yeah. So so that was fun. It's just, so many fun. Oh, and then we didn't talk about the different spell cards and the Binks cards that are on here. Yeah, that's when it gets, you just want a plain old card, but then you get the other ones. And anyway, the gameplay is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
it's
always evolving, and it's always, it's because it's a card deck, it never is the same game twice, which I think is always a fun way to do that too, because it doesn't get old, it doesn't get stale, especially if you're going to put this on a shelf and pull it out maybe all those Halloweens in the future, for sure. Vanessa, your thoughts on what you really enjoyed about the game?
I enjoyed that once you understand what you're doing, the concepts are themselves pretty easy, but the strategy is what takes it to the next level. So that makes it not, how like in Candyland is just like pull a color, move the item, pull a color, move that. It can be very boring for the older people in your family. So the strategy is what makes it really interesting. And then also, as the game advances and you start to lose cards, it makes it more difficult. So it's not a difficult game where kids couldn't play, but it is challenging enough that the older people in your family, whether it be older sister, older brother, parents, grandparents, they can play as well. So in that way, it really is a family game that, like you said, gets you in the spirit, and the spooky words and the fun cards, and it's just so Halloween to me. So I really enjoyed it. It's something different to do, especially on that rainy Halloween day. When you can't go to the hayrack ride and you can't go to the pumpkin patch, this is something you can do with the family to really celebrate. So I really enjoyed it, and I think people would really like playing this game as well.
Yeah, but let's move into, to be objective about this, because we are reviewing it. Let's talk a bit about what maybe we didn't enjoy quite as much. And I think that Vanessa and I are on the same page. She actually has a specific instruction, but I will tell you that I was not anticipating going into this, the learning curve being so steep, because I still don't know 100%. I've played it a couple of times now. I don't know that I'm thoroughly playing this game correctly. And so that is not a fault of the creators of the game. It is more a fault of my little bitty brain, because I don't know that I can figure out this instruction book as thoroughly maybe as I needed to. So Vanessa, you are looking up specifically one particular rule, I think, that you have an objection to, correct?
Well, yes. I can't find the exact language, but basically it alluded to the fact that Okay, so the witch's spells, when you pull those cards, that's usually something bad's gonna happen to you. Like you lose cards, you have to, backtrack the cards that you were playing. You basically lose stunning a witch, you lose time. So all the bad things that ruin your strategy. But it said something like, sometimes the witch's spells can go wrong, and as if it would be in our favor. So I took that as one of the cards was going to say like, oh, move the sun ahead. Like it was going to work out in our favor. None of the spell cards are like that.
Well, the spell cards are supposed to be kind of a detriment to you, right? They're really supposed to throw you for a loop, so it adds a little bit of complexity to the game. So I don't know.
Yes, but there was something in here. Here, you guys talk, and I'm going to find it specifically.
There was, this was, we were looking for that. It was a spell card. It was a spell card that we thought was going to happen. I'm like going, it's going to be the next spell card. It's going to be the next spell card. And then it never materialized. Okay.
Wrong property, Brett.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the Haunted Mansion. We got.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that a game too? Can we try to get that one too? Okay. So, my baseline for playing a game is if I had a good time. And I had a good time both times I played, because Vanessa was, shall we say, quite insistent that once we played it the first time, because we didn't know really what we were doing, and the gameplay was 3 hours, she wanted to play it again because she learned how to play it. And I'm like going, okay. And
Yes.
so I did have fun. I did have fun.
Yes.
I did have fun the second time too. And I mean, that was my takeaway from this game. Did I have fun? Would I play it again? And absolutely. So I can't wait for the next time, and I really can't wait until we don't necessarily have to play it by Zoom. But all the single people can play Hocus Pocus, the game, via Zoom with the Zoom Quarantine Edition.
Yeah, I enjoy that a lot. I think it's cool that you were able to adapt it and to be able to do that. And I think overall, the thought is that people should go out and buy this game. And I want to tell you how to do that. But before I do, Vanessa, have you found your gripe? Have you found the specific verbiage that you are upset at?
No, but it's in here. Oh, wait. Is this it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. This is what it says. If the top card of all 5 piles in the cauldron match, either by color or by type, then one witch is stunned. This usually happens when a player plays an ingredient, but it could also happen after a spell is cast. Sometimes the Sanderson sisters' magic runs amok. So if a spell is cast and then they get stunned, well, that would make you think that one of these spell cards has a witch stun a witch, spell in it. So we were thinking, let's try to get the spell cards because eventually one of them will be in our favor. But that is not the case. You never want to get a spell card. So that's just a little pro tip if you're playing this. See,
all right.
It was in there.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
And our additional rule of the sister or Vanessa or whoever, doth thou have a dead man's toe?
Yeah, that adds
we get
to
to
it.
practice. It does. It was fun. It was we're adding the acting element to it.
Of course, acting, because
acting,
we are.
It's just like when you go to Disney. Like if you really get into it, it makes it more fun. So just jump in, like just have fun.
Just go for it. Just wear robes.
Have fun.
Yeah,
just,
wear robes.
Light a black flame candle.
Oh,
and
no, don't light a black flame
Don't do
Candle.
that.
No,
That's
don't
not.
do that.
That's never a good idea.
Not good. That's
Don't do
never a good
that.
idea.
Never a good idea. So you can purchase this game at any online retailer that you want, any board game shop that you want will have this game. It's by Ravensburger, which is really, they produce such high quality, really well done games. And this is one as well. It is only $19.99. It's really a steal. It's a very good price for this
But don't
game.
steal it.
I would highly suggest, don't steal it, but it is a steal of a deal. So I would highly suggest going out and picking up a copy of Hocus Pocus, the game. Again, thank you to Ravensburger for providing us copies so we could bring this discussion to you, and let us know what you think about these types of discussions and what we're going to be doing in the future, because we do have another game from Ravensburger that we will be showing and playing for you next month in November as we lead up to your Christmas wish list. We are going to be playing the Jungle Cruise game, so we're excited to dive into that. And they just have so many really fun and cool games that they have going on there. Yes, Vanessa?
I'm going to be
Treat-
playing it behind the backside of water.
Oh, so if you were annoyed by all of our Hocus Pocus line readings, you better believe that we are going to bring you more annoying quotes from the Jungle Cruise. That is what we do here at Beyond Mouse.
Annoying. I think
No,
you mean
no, no.
hilarious.
The perfect line readings. Hello.
Hello.
It's how I judge all. It's how I judge all Jungle Cruise skippers is Vanessa's line reading.
We're very judgy on some of those line readings.
Yes. Really? About yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I must add, I have already given this as a gift. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Since I did, I gave mine as a gift. I have friends who are especially fond of all of the holidays, especially the fall holidays, fall into winter, So we're talking the Thanksgiving, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving, and the Christmas. And so I gave it as a gift because I thought they would enjoy it. And they have. I haven't heard back to find out exactly what, but they were very thrilled to get it. So I gave it as a gift. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great gift to give. It's a great gift to give yourself while you're watching Hocus Pocus. Brett, I feel like you're going to say I stole your thunder, but tell people when they can watch Hocus Pocus and how they can watch Hocus Pocus this Halloween season.
Why, sure. Like going, well, it's on Freeform television with the 31 Nights of Halloween. There are 14, count them, 14 opportunities to watch Hocus Pocus on Freeform TV. Mm-hmm. I don't think this year they're doing the 24-hour one like they did last year, which bring that back because that was fun to watch. You would just turn it on and go, yeah, that's where we are. Okay, boom. And then, yeah, I enjoyed that. And then also, of course, it's on Disney Plus. So we have Hocus Pocus. And then under extras, there's Disney as Told by Emoji, Hocus Pocus. And then We Heart Hocus Pocus. Trivia and Treats edition, which has lots of trivia. I think that was on Freeform last year, but now it's available. You can watch it anytime you want or as many times, and you can learn so much. I watched some of it before we did this today, and I learned so much, and it was fun. And yeah, Kenny Ortega has a ponytail. Well, you go, Kenny Ortega, in your ponytail from 1990, whatever. So it was fun.
Any final thoughts on the game before we wrap this thing up? Vanessa, your final thoughts on the Hocus Pocus game?
I just hope that when you get to hear bits of our gameplay, you have as much fun as we did, and that you don't think that we're totally insane, because we do take it really seriously. So, but we had a lot of fun. So I hope you do too.
Brett, any final thoughts?
Well, I hope you have a fun time listening to our gameplay because I will be editing 4 hours of gameplay in order to get a 2-minute clip. But we did have fun. It was lots of fun. So
that's wonderful. And thank you for all that editing that you do, Brett. We really appreciate it here on Beyond the Mouse. And all of our listeners do too. Everybody give Brett a round of applause wherever you're listening to this Whatever you're listening to this podcast, thank you. Thank you, Brett, for that.
Well, we have to think. Well, we are a team here because, well, I mean, you host and you give and you get guests and all of this. And Vanessa hosts and she writes wonderful articles, and I just do a little editing here and there. You know,
we are
we
such
work
a wonderful
together
team.
well.
And you know what? It is such a great time to be a Disney fan. I would argue, and I will argue in next week's episode, that Halloween is the best time to be a Disney fan. Love this time of year when it's starting to get a little chillier out. I've been wearing hoodies this week, and it just feels so great to be in hoodies and jeans. And it just, to me, that is like the perfect sentiment for fall weather and for the fall that we're going into. We have so many fun and cool shows planned for this month of October. Next week, we'll be hearing from Matthew Kroll of the Imagineer podcast as we talk about going through what puts you in the Halloween spirit when you talk about Disney. And I think that'll be a really fun episode. And then, of course, we are bringing back our draft, and we will reveal the winner of our last draft at that episode, because that person has been letting me know that I have not announced that maybe she or he, or maybe she won. And she's been very, very peculiar about that. She wants to make
So
sure
you're
that
going to announce it
particular.
on that episode. Okay.
We'll
No
announce it on
spoilers
that
there.
episode. So we are going to do a villains draft. It's going to be so fun. And we have even more fun planned for you throughout October and into November and beyond. We are so excited. Thank you so much for listening. If you could, please do us a favor and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to leave us a rating as well. Follow along with us on social media. You can find us on Beyond the Mouse Podcast on Facebook, also Beyond the Mouse Pod on Instagram, and contact us. Leave us a message, send us an email at beyondthemousepod@gmail.com. We love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear specifically, do you like these types of review shows, and would you like more of these in the future? Because I think we had a lot of fun doing this, but we want to make sure you're having fun listening to it as well. We are, of course, part of the Front Row Network. You can find us all on nprillinois.org. You can also find the Front Row on all of their social media just by searching for the Front Row Network. Whew. I got through it all, and I can't wait for the fall. I'm so excited about all of this and all that we have coming for you. For Beyond the Mouse, I am Craig.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Brett.
And we will see you real soon in the front row. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Anything else?
Come on.
What about Yabos? Something about Yabos.
Oh no, yeah, that was
No.
No. Like,
That's on the same level as lighting a black candle. Don't do that.
Again. So anyway, so yesterday when we were talking, you were saying that you like to play a game until you're very fulfilled and happy with the game. And I was talking about when I played Monopoly when I was growing up. I stopped playing Monopoly with my parents, like when I was in second grade, because I didn't want to beat them. But I played with neighborhood friends, and that was fun and all this. But my rule is I do not play Monopoly with friends. So we cannot play Monopoly, but I can play Monopoly with Craig.
Thanks.
I can play Monopoly with Craig. Just kidding. I'm challenged.
Just for those who might be listening, Craig has played this and done the more thorough research. So he will give a different perspective. This is me and Brett trying to figure out if we can do this without him, which we definitely can. We don't need Craig for anything. So anyway.
Well, I invited him. I'm like going, so Vanessa and I are going to be playing the game via Zoom because it's a pandemic and everything. And you're welcome to join us. I have not heard from him yet.
Right. We did invite him. But, okay. We're getting a lot of those. Okay. I'm going to play a blue oil again with a spell card. So.
Those Sanderson sisters are at it again.
It's all of them. Come we fly, remove the sun token from the play and cast another spell. Fine. We're never gonna win this game.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's your turn.
Doth thou
No newts. You
have
already
a
asked
newt?
me.
Don't
I
have a
don't have
newt?
any nudes.
Then
No.
why are we still going after newts? Okay.
Because they're gotta be in there somewhere. If we switch now, we'll be in the same situation. This is why people are like I always, my family doesn't like me because I'll be like, just hang on a little longer, guys. We're almost there. Vanessa, it's time to give it up. No.
I play yellow oil of boil, and it's a Binks. So I'm picking up my last card.
I'm going to pick up.
It is not a newt. Like what? Since I
I'm gonna play
two dead men's. I have 3 dead man's toes and
What
an oil
colors?
of boil.
What color are those toes?
I have 2 green and 1 purple.
That's not gonna help us, I don't think. I'm gonna
That
play
doesn't
a
make any
dash
difference
of
because
pucks.
it's not a newt.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna discard. I'm just gonna discard some of these cards because I just gotta see what's in this deck. There's got to be newts in here somewhere. So we won. We did
We
it.
won.
We won.
Okay, let's yeah.